very focused on research. In fact, not only 25%, but let's say half of our workforce is in what we call research and development, so engineering. And yes, when we talk about the engineering team is located mainly in Romania, but we are spread over several continents. Now, myself, I graduated pure mathematics, and I used to work initially in research, in computer science research. And by the way, the time I used to work in research, we didn't call what's happening today artificial intelligence, but we named it more, let's say, pattern analysis and machine intelligence. But used to start as a researcher in what is called today AI. In fact, let's say the biggest one, because we talk about, let's say, somehow technological frontiers here, is in fact what I should call it, the huge velocity of change of the environment we have to protect, and that's an environment, and also the environment targeting the environment we are protecting. So all the landscape is changing with a huge velocity here. So I give you some examples just to learn. We are not aware of, but in fact today there are, let's say, two categories of players, the attackers and defenders. But we are not very aware, in fact, that the innovation, what we call it, innovation in the attacks, so I'm talking about the offensive part, is mainly happening with the states. So in fact, states' focus today is developing offensive, let's say, approaches. So we have one trigger of the change, which are the states innovating on how to do the offensive. Okay, we have all the changes in the landscape of technology, of the infrastructure, and we are seeing huge changes here. I just named, by example, the quantum computing. It's evolving. It's in at its inception now. But quantum computing, by example, will somehow outline several realities same time. So we'll have technologies like encryption, which at that time we'll call legacy, which will coexist with the new approach of encrypting communication. And as cyber, you have to protect also what is called legacy against quantum. Is like, let's say, you have a word like a human word, which is attacked by, let's say, should say, societies coming from the future, and you have to protect against them. This is a kind of realities that will be together. And we talk also about the human behavior here. The human behavior changes a lot. We have seen during the pandemic, by example, the buy your own device, the surface you have to protect change completely. Try to figure out what's the shared surface, now is dismantling, I should say, the surface you have to protect. In fact, we talk here about a race, once again, because I mentioned that the innovation on the offensive side stays a lot with the states, which are investing a lot. In the innovation on the defense side stays with the private sector. There is hope in the sense that there is this kind of race. There is a race. It's not someone winning all the time. There is a race. Okay, many times you're hearing in the underground that, let's say, some teams are struggling with penetrating some defense. Okay, so there is a race. This is the hope here. Okay, in fact, let's say technology created by one of the sides could be used by the other side, and that's another characteristic of the race here. And here we come to what can be done probably in the future, and already we are seeing seeds of that future. By example, everywhere there is a code, where there is a software, you should expect the language developing that code to heal itself automatically. because, by example, today we are seeing could be microprocessor, could be drivers, could be everywhere. We are seeing code which is vulnerable. Okay, here we talk about observability. Now, in the future, when we are seeing already languages developing there, it's like we are seeing that in the science fiction movies, the languages will heal themselves automatically. It's self-healing languages, okay, in terms of security. For example, that's one kind of approach in the future. Another one could be related to all this changing landscape. It's what we call today autonomous contextual intelligent response. And by example, we have seen recently some very interesting approaches. Probably we are aware of the OpenAI organization, which work on some models called GPTN. Okay, doesn't matter too much, but this, in fact, made like a breakthrough in what we call learning systems. Now, they are related to natural languages. When we are talking about all the infrastructure, what we call today surface, we could call them, let's say, coding languages, could call them system policies, human behavior, all that could be less complex than natural languages.